Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of AOR. It is PC North America F1 League. I am Benikage. With me tonight is the absolutely wonderful Tipster. Good evening to you, Tipster.
Hello, and a good evening, night here from the UK.
Yeah, it's a bit of a late one over there. But yeah, it is going to be another round of North American action. It's a absolutely wonderful and very kind of difficult track tonight, Tipster. It's the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yes, one of the kind of most difficult circuits on our calendar tonight. Not only that, but I believe that tonight is going to be our special night race as well.
Oh, you're right. We are going to get a night race tonight. Yes, the drivers voted for if they want the race at day or night. So EU did it in the day, and North America's doing it under the lights. I think that's absolutely extra special. But a little bit more on that in a moment, shall we? We're going to go into the standings very quickly for this F1 League before we get ready for you. And there they are up on your screen. It's the two Aston Martins that lead the way. MRT Flavio and Lucas Jan are leading the way, 44 and 41. Lars Algira in second place in the Haas. Fizzyman has moved up to fourth place in the Alpine, and Igor had a really rough race last time out. He is bumped down to fifth position. Do you want to go over the constructors there, Tipster?
Hello?
Oh, do you want to go over the constructors there, Tipster?
The Constructors' Championship, sure. In first, we have Aston Martin, the two drivers leading the field throughout the first two races. Then, not behind them, whilst I hastily get the constructor standings up,
That's all good.
is Haas with 27 points, a massive 58-point gap at the moment. They couldn't possibly make that back tonight, but maybe they can scrape some ground back and see if they can overtake Aston Martin at the next race. Then we've got McLaren just behind them on 26. Going to be an easy overtake if they can grab a few more points than Haas tonight. Alpine on 20, and then we have AlphaTauri on 13.
Sorry, I threw that to you hastily. My bad. But yeah, Aston Martin just kind of head and shoulders above everybody else. It's unlike EU League where the leading team in EU, Tipster, is Team Reserve. Let's go Team Reserve.
Yeah, Team Reserve.
Team Reserve. Yeah, exactly. My team is up in it's like my team career mode, but for AOR. But no, yeah, it's been kind of Aston Martin head and shoulders above the rest. Really, I mean, it's been 1 and 2.
Well, they've had double podium finishes both races so far. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out tonight. I know that Lars has probably got their eyes on the prize tonight. after just missing out on second place last week. So we'll see what's going to happen with that.
And interesting to note in the constructors, by the way, yes, it is Aston Martin like running away with it, but Haas is up 2 positions from their performance in Bahrain, right? They've jumped into second position. They're only a point ahead of the McLaren, and they're only 7 ahead of the Alpine. So Ferrari down there in 5th as well. So it's kind of like Aston Martin, Flavio and Lucas are the 2 title favorites, right? So you kind of expect this league to grow. In the constructors at least, and there's quite a scrap for second place.
There is. I mean, you have you have Haas, McLaren, Alpine all in contention for that second place spot. Honda's not that far behind either. That they could potentially leapfrog the field and take not Honda, AlphaTauri. Could leapfrog the field and take second tonight. But well, who knows what will happen, because we've got quite a few reserves out on the grid tonight as well, I'm being told by our race director. So points could be spread quite widely across the board.
Yeah, so you mentioned Honda. It was interestingly enough, we should just have a race where we call everybody by the role team names. We get Minardi on there. Let's bring back the Jordan's in the lead.
Let's bring back Renault.
Let's bring back Renault. I'm personally an Arrows fan. No, I'm just teasing. So, although you know what was one of my favorite teams, we're going to talk real quick about old school teams, British American Racing. Let's bring British American Racing back. The old bar. There you go. I remember playing them in the F1 Challenge games. So.
That is quite the throwback there.
Yeah. I think Jensen Button actually got his start. I want to say somewhere, or maybe very early on his career, he raced for British American Racing.
So
yeah. So who needs?
It looks like we are readying up for our qualifying session here. With,
yes.
19 drivers. 19 drivers starting our qualifying.
19 drivers to start, absolutely. So almost a full grid, a little bit more fuller than we had in the EU League earlier today. But yeah, looking forward to the full qualifying session. Before we get into that very quickly, we just want to thank our absolutely wonderful sponsors, Elgato, who sponsors AOR. They make the absolutely wonderful Stream Deck. If you're into streaming at all, serious about streaming at all, the Stream Deck is an absolutely wonderful device. It helps every aspect of your stream in terms of the production, and definitely want to check them out, elgato.com. A big thank you to Driver 61 Sim Racing Academy. You can get a 25% off consultation session, a free coaching session when you use code AOR Driver61. Check out driver61.com/sim-racing/D61-sim-racing-academy. And finally, SIMSOK, our final sponsor here for season 22 of AOR. They are the first-of-a-kind product to help take away the stress of sweaty, slippery feet on the pedals. They have a cushioned heel for comfort during endurance races, breathable panels, arch support, special cool wick yarn that wicks away the moisture, and strategically placed unique grips so there is no more feet slipping off the pedal. And we have a bit of a kind of a curveball here for you.
Well,
it is absolutely heaving it down in this
I was going to
qualifying.
say, speaking of slippery, our qualifying is going to be in the wet. It looks like everybody is on full wets here as it is thundering it down out there on the streets of Monaco. 18 minutes on the clock, and I think our first cars are making their way out now. I can just see a McLaren leaving the pit lane and possibly swerving back in. But yes, we are getting underway here for qualifying in the wet and at night.
Yes.
So this, we weren't expecting this. I don't know if our drivers were expecting this.
I certainly wasn't expecting this. Sorry, I'm just moving OBS. If you see the pause menu there for a second, chat. Apologies, just giving a little move over to OBS to get everything ready, and we are ready for a dry race. So I'm sorry. Yes, that's the news I wanted to come in and tell you. Though there are tipsters that we're going to have a dry race.
Okay, so I mean, it was going to be fresh tyres for the race anyway with wet qualifying, but that certainly changes up the strategies quite a bit. Ramon is on their outlap now. They're going to be our first representative time of what the conditions are out there as they're leading all the cars into Sector 3 right now.
Well, he's actually picked up an invalidation lap, so it shouldn't be too much. He should still come across the line fine and start the lap, but if he... I was gonna say, I was watching him through the swimming pool section. If he cut another corner, he would invalidate it this next one. But I gotta tell you, I gotta ask you, Tipsy, what's it like? You have a wet race and it's full wets for qualifying, but then you've got to go through that tunnel section, and that is bone dry.
Yeah, that's really going to put some pressure on the tyres. It's going to mean those tyres are going to warm up. They're going to be outside of their operating window for that brief period. It means that the wets do see a lot more wear here than they do at most other tracks.
Very, very interesting. So Ramon, like you said, he'll be the first over the line. He's currently down towards the Grand Hotel Hairpin, as looks like that AlphaTauri. Ramon having an okay season so far. He would love to pick up points here, but you were talking a little bit about strategy prior. And I'm going to make the assumption that that's not going to change, particularly because we have a dry race, right? Do you want to go over what you think the drivers are going to be, what the kind of the best strategy you think is for attacking a street circuit like Monaco?
Well, I mean, the thing is that grip is key here, but the tyres do wear down very quickly, especially with a high downforce setup, which is what most of our drivers tonight are going to be running. We're probably looking at medium, either a combination of 2 mediums and a soft, or a medium and a hard for the race. I can't really see anybody going out on the softs for a significant amount of time, because after 5 laps they are slower than the mediums by about 2 tenths. So, I mean, people may be making their own calls. They may, depressurize the tyres a little to help them stay out a bit longer, but the simulations and Pirelli seem to think that the best strategies available are medium, medium soft, or hard medium. But we'll see what our drivers decide to do come at the start of the race.
Well, at the start of qualifying, it is Flavio who is head and shoulders above the rest of the field. He's put down a 124.3. Firefox is on the 126.0. Steph goes up to the 127.4. Ramon, that first car over the line you talked about, he only got a 129.8, so it looks like struggling a little bit for some pace here in the wet, and we'll see how these drivers fare. Of course, it's one of those things, I gotta say, is it one of these things where, you know, since it's going to be the full wet qualifying, that you don't do kind of like the one and done laps? You try to do like maybe 2 or 3 laps on the tires and then come into the pits, or is it always going to be just kind of 1 lap runs?
I mean, the thing is that if you do 1 lap runs, you're weight saving, and we have a new fastest lap from, I believe that's a reserve driver, Kimmler, in the McLaren there. Yes, there's arguments for both. You can try and weight save, or you can try and get a few more laps out there on the tyres, try and get them to an optimal temperature over the course of a few laps, and hopefully the times will tumble a bit. Because you're not using the tyres for the race, especially if you know that the race is going to be fully bone dry. I don't see a reason not to go out on the same tyres several times, or load up the car, do a few warm-up laps, and then put in a hot lap about 3 or 4 laps later.
Interesting. So it is Lucas who goes quick, as he's on a 123.1. We have had a retirement. Finale has retired. He is also currently in the process of stepping down for the full-time role, so he will become a reserve driver, mind you. But what were you going to say there?
Ramon has lost their wing. We have a yellow flag, sector 2 and 3. Ramon has lost their wing. They're going to be trying to guide it into the pits in the wet with no downforce. This could be trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So
they do fine.
We also have a second retirement. StarCraft has retired. both have not set a lap time, so we're looking at Lars here. Is he going to finish this lap, or is he going to come into the pits? No, he's going to come into the pits. He's off. He's into the pits. He did a really quick kind of like in-lap, actually, so kind of interested to see. Kalo is currently on, I believe, his in-lap, so let's move over to Fizimon, right? He is third in the championship, I believe, or no, he's fourth in the championship. And he is currently on his out lap. I think he's put the side into the wall, so he's actually going to immediately pull it into. I'm sorry, I'm watching Firefox. My bad. I've had the old sticky key where you hit Shift and 5, but it goes to 5 anyway. He's on his out lap. He is currently trying to let the McLaren go by. But, yeah, he's looking to start a fast lap. He has not set a time yet. 1:23.1, though, the fastest lap of the session so far. Do you see that holding, or do you see in the wet a little bit more pace?
I think there's still a bit more pace out there. We have certainly Kimmler's looking to challenge it. I feel like if they warm up the tyres a bit more, or maybe even ease the fuel load a little bit, they can definitely shave at least some tenths off that 1:23.1.
Just explained to the chat, we do have a few internet limitations with at least my setup, so you are going to get it in standard def tonight, as it has been for the first 2 races of the season. So apologies for that, but I set the bit rate pretty high there, so it should look okay. Not great, but okay. Nonetheless, let's get back on track. Fizzy is on his flying lap as another yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2. Lucas, you're right. They shaved not just a few tenths, my friend. They shaved almost a full second now. He's 9 tenths ahead of Kimmler.
And that's what happens when you get some heat into those tyres. Those tyres are now 4 laps old, but they are at a temperature where they're performing optimum. Also, Igor going P3 with a 1:23.4 ahead of Flavio. I can see Flavio putting in another lap at least before this session ends. 9 minutes on the clock. A lot can still happen. I mean, we've had some retirements. We've had some people who are going to be starting from the back of the grid by the look of it. There is a lot of red on my timing screen from invalid laps as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out.
Fizzy just fell victim to it. He tried to brake and he locked up, and he actually went right through the Novell chicane. So I'm following Tazik right now. He's on his fast lap. He's got traffic ahead, and it's one of the Ferraris, and awfully close. He's had to. He's just got around. I thought he lost it down there, but right after the Grand Hotel hairpin, but he hasn't. Now he's through the tunnel section. He is on the 1:25.0. I'm building this up, and I hope it's not an in lap, because I think he just set one and it was a 1:25. So still he's kind of going. Oh, the Haas is spun though. I don't know if you've seen that, but the Haas right behind him has spun. I believe that might be Firefox who has had a spin. Tazik might be trying to nail this actually, because he is 4 tenths quicker through the first 2 sectors here. So he could be on another flyer. I think you want to stick this. Don't pit. He is. He's going to try and have this stick pretty nicely through Raskas in the final corner. We'll see how he goes up to the line. Does he get any quicker? He does improve his time by 6 tenths to go down to a 1:24.3, but it's not good enough to leapfrog him into any positions. He remains 5th.
And that Haas you were talking about, Firefox there, having some difficulty with the corners. The rear keeps coming out behind them. They keep losing traction. In fact, they've gone into the barrier now, up through turn 2 and turn 3. I think they need to have a severe look at their setup. They need to have a severe look at where they're putting the force down on the accelerator, because it seems like they're not going to finish the race if they keep doing that.
Absolutely not, but tell you what, meanwhile, Fizzymon has landed a lap. Oh, there's a really big crash, actually. It's Bulldog. It's more debris. He's lost his front wing again, and he's lost it on the out lap. So he is going to have to come in. There is debris all over Sector 2, I believe, now. So, wow, that is a really bad accident that he's had there. He's lucky to still be in the session, because a lot of debris went flying when he hit the wall. But Let's follow on with Lucas. He should be on a flying lap now. He is just 3 hundredths of a second slower than his previous lap. So we'll see if he can nail it. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him in the Williams. He's going to have to be careful of. So it might cause him to pull out of the lap. We'll see. It's kind of difficult because Sector 2 is so slow anyway. You know what I mean? Like it is a slow sector. Ramon's retired from the session. His 129.8 will have to stick. I don't know if he's crashed or not, and it looks like he might have. Yeah, he's out. The Mercedes is out. He's hit the inside wall going down to the Nouvelle chicane. And now Marcus coming up to the line at the end of Sector 2. We'll see. That'll be the determining point, really, if he's still in this flying lap or not. And no, he's 3.3 slower. He's pulled out of it. So Lucas just trying to build some speed. But I'll tell you who is on a flying lap there. Oh, my goodness me. Tipster, it's going to be our second place in Kimmler.
Yeah, Kimmler challenging for pole position here, but they've invalidated their lap, in fact. So it's not going to be this time round, but maybe this next one here.
You're absolutely right, he has it. And I'll tell you what, it's good to see Igor kind of back up towards the top, right? Like, you know, he had a rough, I believe he DNF'd in the last race, and a little bit of a rough outing in Spain, but right back into third place here. He's also invalidated this lap, so I'm going to jump down to Flavio, who is on an out lap, mind you, but still, he wants to go quicker. He's 1.3 off the pace of his teammate.
We have a 21.4 from Kimmler through Sector 1. This is definitely going to be challenging for the top, assuming they can keep it on the circuit.
He had a little bit of wheel spin there coming out of the Grand Hotel hairpin, though. That could cost some time. We'll see. We'll ride on board with Kimmler. Lars, though, goes second, 122.6.
Oh, and there's a tire in the middle of the track. Oh, great. Unfortunately, Kimmler invalidating that lap again around the Nouvelle chicane. Needs to take it a little bit easier through there. Make sure they're hitting those apexes correctly. And actually, just frankly, doesn't care with swimming pool. Goes straight through. Going for another one? I don't know. The thing is that the undertray damage, if there is any, is going to really affect the downforce of the car.
Yeah, I'm riding on board with Igor, and oh, it's so loose. He's invalidated his lap. He got way too loose under braking going down to the Nouvelle chicane. That's the problem, right? Parc Fermé rules means you kind of have to put the dry setup on and try to qualify on the dry setup, and it just is causing a lot of kind of spins and whatnot, right? I mean, it's just not ideal. So,
I mean, there are things you can do to kind of alter that. You can change your front wing a little bit. You can put a bit more angle on it. You can also mess around with your differential and your brake bias, and that's what some of our drivers will be doing right now whilst they're driving out. They'll get a feel for kind of how things are, how the grip is, and be adjusting those things on the fly.
Well, I was riding on board with RFX Alpha because he went purple in Sector 2. But it was only a 126.3. That's good enough for 13th. But he's got a time on the board, more importantly. And you know who else is on a flying lap? It's Bulldog. He crashed last time, and this time he's trying to stick it. It's the Nouvelle chicane. It's always the trouble. And he's a little bit of a lockup, but he manages to get through. A lot of wheel spin on that exit, though. In fact, the Merc has just gone straight through the chicane to try and avoid him because he knows he's on the fastest lap. And Bulldog is a little bit off the pace here. Water on the camera. Nothing I can do about that. Down to the swimming pool section. Handles that pretty well. A little slow, though. But still, he is now around. Rascat's a little bit wide, but he keeps it on the track. And now around the final turn. There it is, up to the line. What's this going to be? It's going to be a very slow lap, unfortunately, for him. But it's a time on the board. It's a 1:31.7.
Currently... Well, back of the grid, unfortunately. Well, not quite with the people who've retired, but there's definitely room for improvement there from Bulldog. And I feel like there were points where they were having to brake quite early because of the Mercedes that was in front of them. Maybe they can squeeze a few more seconds out of their lap from that. And no, they've gone into the barrier in Sector 2 and retired. That's it for Bulldog for this race, for this qualifying session.
Well, Wilhelm has also retired, and he's up at Mirabeau, I believe. So, it's you said there was going to be Tazik's also retired. You said there was going to be a lot of retirements in the race, and we haven't even gotten there yet. And there's already been quite a few. There's already been 6, 3 drivers who have not put a time in. But Lucas, we followed along with him, and he sets a new fastest lap. He's got it down to the 127s. He is almost a full second quicker than his teammate Flavio, who is also on a flying lap. He has just gone up the hill, and he's going around Casino now, down to, I believe it's Mirabeau. So we'll see how he does. He's 8/100ths of a second slower. Can he improve on this time? Down towards the hairpin. Kimmler's retired as well. That is the McLaren, and that is coming up towards the Casino turn. He is out of the race, and we've almost had half the field retired now. Wet and Monaco has just been a nightmare.
The Haas has spun. Firefox has spun in Sector 2 at Mirabeau.
And he's out. But we're riding on board. Sorry, go ahead. Kalo's out as well. Good Lord.
Firefox has nudged into the McLaren goal right there. That is... apparently he's given Igor a 5-place grid penalty for that. Igor will not be happy.
No, not at all, because I was going to say he went second on a 122.4, and Flavio was looking good, but right around the swimming pool chicane, he invalidated his lap. So Igor retires from the session. Flavio has got to run it all around. He's not got much time left. In fact, he is finished. I beg your pardon. So it's over to Lars. 122.6 for him. He is 9/10 slow. I'm sorry. He is, yes, 9/10 slower than pole position Lucas. As Bruh goes across the line on a 123.0. I'm already. Oh, has Lars lost his front wing? Yeah. That's the end of that lap. So now it's on Fizzy and Sabbath, and
Fizzy's pitted. It's down to Sabbath.
Fizzy's pit. Yes, it's down to just Sabbath. Lars has the pit, so it's down to just Sabbath to improve on the 125. He's not going to do it. He's on a slow lap anyway, so that's going to do it. It'll be Lucas who gets pole position. Igor is got second, but you said he has a grid penalty, so we'll see. He should start in 7th if that is true with the 5 place grid penalty. Flavio will move up alongside his teammate in row 1 then.
Yeah, I think Igor's going to be quite frustrated at that, because there was nothing they could do there. That Haas was just across the entirety of the track. And that's the thing with Monaco. This street circuit is quite thin. You can barely fit 2 cars in some of the turns around here and some of the streets around here. So there wasn't really any room to get around Firefox there. There's nothing they could really do. In fact, from my angle, speculative here, it looked like Firefox was accidentally reversed into him. So that may be something that goes to the stewards.
Real quick, our grid, it's going to be Lucas on pole position, Flavio second, Lars third, Bruh fifth. Kimmler will be, Flavio second, yeah, Lars third, Bruh fourth, Kimmler fifth. So those are your top 5. Tried to get it in there, but the countdown timer is already underway. So, yeah, interesting. I don't think the 5 place grid penalty can be reversed by the stewards. I just think it's kind of one of those unfortunate things, right? Because what are they going to do? I mean, the race starts.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose there's not much they can do in this circumstance. But that full grid, up front, we have. Was it Jan?
Yeah, it's Lucas, and then alongside him will be Flavio. So the 2 Aston Martins, 1 and 2 in the championship, and Liena Constructors as well. They are. It's a front row lockout for the Aston Martins.
Yeah, and then we have last, I believe that's Giovanni Santos. that we have is Giovanni racing today? My timing data.
I don't think he is. I think Giovanni Santos might be off for today.
Sorry, yes. Fourth on the grid we have Lars, then Bruh, then Kimler, Fizimon, Igor, Tezik, Rafa, Steph taking P10. Then we've got Sabbath, Kaio, Firefox, Lundqvist in the Williams in P4. Then Ramon, Bulldog, Starcraft, Final Three, and Wilhelm taking up the back of the grid.
Indeed. So it is going to be Lucas and Flavio at the front. Lars is doing very well this season. He's up on the third. He's in third in the championship. He's got third here at Monaco. Bruh is in fourth. I think that's a reserve driver. And
yes, that is.
Kimmler is in fifth. Fizzy, who's in fourth in the championship, is good enough for P6 with Igor's penalty. So Igor is in fifth in the championship, and he's going to start P7. We've seen some spectacular overtakes here in Monaco so far. And we'll see if we can have much of the same. It's always difficult to overtake, but certainly some of these drivers that have the pace towards the back, maybe like an Igor or a Fizzy, will certainly be trying to do their best to stick it in the inside around somewhere. Hopefully down to turn one, maybe down into the Nobel chicane and get by.
Yes. Yeah, so as they're starting to line up on the grid, it looks like Lucas is going on the softs, Igor's going on the mediums. We've got some of our runners going on the hards as well, a variety of strategies at play here. It's going to be interesting because Monaco is one of those circuits where a lot of the overtaking happens not on track but through the pit lane.
That's absolutely right. So we got the details up for you. It is Lucas on softs, Fizzy's on softs as well. Steph in 10th, and Kayla are the only people on the softs. The only people on the hards are Kimmler and Lundqvist, the Bulldog, Finale, and Willem. But there we are. It's 5 lights, and we're underway here on the streets of Monte Carlo and the Monaco Grand Prix. Off the line, it looks like Lucas gets away fine, as Flavio is going to maintain second position. Lars gets away okay. Everybody seems to get through fine. A little bit of contact towards the back with maybe one of their Alfa Romeos. But nonetheless, it looks like, Sabbath is down 4 positions as Kalo has jumped up 3, but pretty much everybody off the line cleanly enough.
Yes, we did have a little bit of a backup behind Starcraft there, who was a little bit of a bottleneck for Final and Wilhelm. But aside from that, no incidents as of yet. Yellow flags showing around the hairpin. That's just because the cars are going slow around there. There's just traffic. No real damage as of just yet, as the field starts to spread out as we move into Louis Chiron and swimming pool. This is where the traction is really going to be telling, because you need to keep a lot of speed through there.
Well, we were talking off air about the softs and how they're not really the best tire around this track. Like, the mediums are very, very strong. As Starcraft's retired from the session. Oh no, is he going out? Igor's retired as well. So that is 2 drivers out already, as it's a virtual safety car. It's a virtual safety car on lap 1, and I gotta say, Lucas has got to feel pretty good. Maybe not about the virtual safety car, but he got away well, and he showed some blinding pace. He got over 2 seconds up on Flavio. A lot of players coming into the pits, including Bruh, who is now down in P14. I don't know what he's coming into pit for. The front wing looks okay. Oh, he's currently on his way out of the pits. My bad. So he has moved on to soft compound tires as well. He rejoins in 14th place. But, yeah, it's a virtual safety car to start.
Yes, so our drivers will now be down to 60% of their racing speed. Jan might not be too happy about that, as it closes his 2 and a bit second gap from the first lap. However, it is going to help him conserve those softs that little bit longer, maybe push them a little bit harder as well. As we go green, and racing is back underway.
Racing back. Sorry, guys.
With Jan turning the corner into the home straight as we start lap 3 here in Monaco.
Yeah, DRS is now enabled. I'm looking at Steph here, got very close going down to the swimming pool section. but nonetheless, now it's kind of fallen off a little bit. DRS is enabled, won't have it. They have not started lap 3 yet, and now they have, but it's Bulldog in the pits. Bulldog has come into the pits, as I wonder if it's a front wing issue. I'm not quite sure. It is. The front wing is getting replaced.
They're also changing for mediums, and they got a 3-second time penalty there. So I think they clipped themselves going into either Nouvelle or Louis.
Indeed, and we're riding on board with, let's go back to Steph, because again, right through Sector 2, that AlphaTauri looks really good. Right on the gearbox of Raf, it had a Rafa, and Steph had about a 3/10 deficit. You can see using that slipstream down through the tunnel section, really close. Does Steph want to go for the move down the inside? No, not to the Nouvelle chicane. So sticking it very close, but just cannot find a way around now down towards the swimming pool section as Lucas goes quick. That's a 1:11.1. That's a very good, but Flavio with a 1:11.10. Ramon with a 3-second time penalty as well. Bulldog has got one as well. That's unfortunate. It's not going to help the back markers any further, really. Igor is out. StarCraft is out. That's unfortunate for Igor. 2 DNFs in a row. It's really going to hurt his championship push. But meanwhile, it's Rafa and Tazik who are in the pit. So Steph is up to 8th. And I'm going to switch over to Fizzymon.
Yes, it looks like Firefox managed to overtake Tazik before they moved into the pits there. So the race now is on to chase Carlo, who is on the softs. Those softs are going to start kind of going away after about 5 laps. They're going to be on par with the mediums. So if Firefox can keep behind Carlo here, they may have a good overtaking chance in about 3 or 4 laps time, if they can keep the pressure on.
Absolutely. I'll tell you who's keeping the pressure on. That's Fizzymon. Right through the swimming pool chicane they go, really right on the end of that McLaren. I don't know if maybe there was contact. Doesn't look it, as the Alpine continues to stay out right on the rear here. DRS is going to help. Can Fizzymon get the move done down into turn 1? We'll see. Is he going to go for it is the question. There's just not enough track. It's a better run out of turn 1. Can he get it up the hill? They look to go side by side, and they already is not left enough room. As he's going to have to pull out of that. So he's had to, oh, the McLaren's just braking very early. And the problem is the Alpine just wants to, you can't really run up on top of that McLaren. It's almost inviting you to rear end it and lose your front wing. As Fizzy's got to be careful about that. It's the hards versus the softs this duel. That's the difference between these. Even if the softs do not last very long, the hard compound tire is so much slower. As Rafa gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, he's retired. That's our 3rd retirement out. Is Fizzy going to go for the move down to the Nouvelle chicane? No, it's going to just stay pinned to that gearbox.
And moving towards the back of the field, P10, there's a battle for P9 between Lundqvist and Sabbath. Sabbath hot on the heels of the Williams. Closing that gap down was at about 6 attempts at the start of this lap. It's now down to just 3. I can foresee an overtake on the home straight here if he can make the move.
Well, I'll tell you who has made the move. That's Fizzy. Kimmler lost a piece of his front wing going into, I believe, the swimming pool section. And so Fizzy, he has to pit. He is currently losing positions in the pits. He should come out ahead of Lundqvist. But Fizzy is up to P4. Now over to that battle you said in 10th position of the Alfa Romeo of Saba. Right on the gearbox of this Williams. Got DRS going down into turn 1. Ooh, that McLaren and Kimmler almost stuck a tire over the yellow line. That would have been disastrous, but it's not enough track, and Saba's going to remain behind Lundqvist for another lap, it looks like.
Yes, although we've now got another 2 joining the train. Brutt in the Red Bull and Kimmler are hot on the heels of Sabbath as well after coming out the pit lane. And it appears someone's trying to go round the outside. In fact, Brutt makes the pass on the inside of the hairpin. Now Brutt right behind Lundqvist, with Sabbath following behind and Kimmler in 11th, but on the fresher mediums.
There's 2 really intense battles going on right now. Lars for Flavio.
There's contact! There's contact! Kimmler into the back of Lundqvist, it looks like.
Switching over to Kimmler now. His wing looks okay. So I don't know where the contact necessarily was. We have currently Firefox in the pit, the Haas in the pit. So his teammate currently in running in looks like 11th. What? This can't be right. 11th place. Oh no, it's Firefox in the pit. Beg your pardon. So he is down. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I'm wondering where. It looks like just at the hairpin. But getting back on track, there was a really heated battle between Steph, but I think Bruh having to pit has ended that battle, and the closest one right now. Lundqvist is gaining on Kimmler, but also Lars on Flavio. Pressure for the second place position.
Yes, Lars looks like gaining a few tenths there on Flavio, and they're going to have DRS through this home straight, but they seem to be losing time here. What could be happening there? They seem to have lost about 2 tenths on the home straight. Maybe the power isn't down. Maybe they haven't got enough rear downforce on those back wheels to get the power down on the ground and get through to a higher top speed.
Well,
but they are catching through the corners now. We're now down to 5 tenths between the two of them.
yeah, I think the big thing too is that that third section, Flavio really stuck it. Popping over to Zeke here in 11th. We'll keep an eye on that battle in third, as it looks like Lars is just on the corner. He's just slipped outside the DRS range. This Mercedes, beg your pardon, let's go up to 6th place with Steph, who is still trying to get past Kalo here in the Mercedes. Steph's got that AlphaTauri dialed in, maybe looking for something towards the outside of Mirabeau, but it's not going to happen there. And now down to the hairpin they will go. Steph has really got this AlphaTauri dialed in. Kalo's under a lot of pressure from Steph, but he just can't seem to get the move on.
Pass as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. Tzazik around Lundqvist. I don't know what happened. Maybe Lundqvist hit the wall. I don't see any damage on Lundqvist's car. I missed it. But
it was around the inside of Mirabeau, I believe.
Must have been an absolutely fantastic overtake. Nonetheless, back on the action at Steph, trying to get the rundown. I believe in the overtake. I believe in it. I don't know about you, but I really think that there's so much pressure from this AlphaTauri DRS. Oh no, Steph's coming into the pits. Maybe the tires are beyond their life. They are 7 laps on it. It is lap 9, mind you. Lucas at the front, mind you, is also on the tires, the soft tires. And indeed, it is just going to be a tire pit. Onto the mediums for Steph. She is out of the pits. But when do we got to start talking about pit stops? When do you start? Because the softs of Lucas are out at the front, have 8 laps of wear on them.
8 laps, one or two of those being under virtual safety car, so let's call it 7. They're going to start dropping off quite soon, and they're already going to be slower than the mediums, so it's just a case of when Yarn comes in, they are going to be coming out probably P3 at this point, as there's quite the gap between Lars and Carlo, as Fizzymon overtakes Carlo right there. The softs are going to start wearing away pretty quickly here. In fact, if they don't come in soon, they might lose too much grip and risk just bending it into the barrier if they're not careful.
Absolutely. Bruh gets by Kalo. Kalo seems to be having some problems. As Kalo's lost the front wing. Kalo has no front wing. That is why Kalo's being overtaken. He's going to have to dive into the pits here. So Kalo into the pits. That puts Sabbath up into 6th position, and it is side by side down towards the corner. Tzazik trying to go on the outside, Sabbath trying to stick it on the inside, and there is not really enough room there. Alfa Romeo have to take a large cut of that corner, but it is going to be Tzazik who gets the pass done and up into 6th position.
Yes, and as we head back towards Lars now, Kimmler setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Lars is starting to close that gap on Flavio, now down to about 8 tenths as they're coming through Casino here, I believe. That's Casino, right? Yeah, that's Casino. Sorry, this is my first time. Hopefully looking to gain a few more tenths through the hairpin here, trying to line up for that overtake on the home straight, because honestly, home straight into Saint Devot is your best chance of overtaking here. Maybe you can get enough traction down on Portier to get a hot off the corner into the tunnel section, but most of the overtakes on circuit round here happen around Saint Devot.
Absolutely, and it's a 3-second time penalty for Firefox. Kimmler is going to be happy about that. He is right on the gearbox. He's got the DRS. Oh no! And it's going to be into the wall for Firefox. I don't know if he got hit. I don't know if Kimmler tapped him. I didn't see anything, any contact from the McLaren. Firefox just maybe losing the rear end. He's hit the inside wall, and he has lost his front wing. That is disastrous for Firefox, as he's going to have to pit yet again. So we're going to move over to, I'll tell you what, to Zeke, who's putting a lot of pressure on Bruh in 5th position, down to the Novell chicane. Only 3/10 was the gap. Has to pull out of this overtake. Now it gets a really good run and gets the overtake. Bruh, did he take contact? No, it doesn't look like it. Fizzy gets a penalty in 4th. That'll help to Zeke push. It puts to Zeke within a second, really, of catching Fizzymon for the lead. Remember, Fizzymon's 43 seconds back, so these leaders who haven't pit yet are well and truly clear of 4th place. It is really a 3-way battle for the lead. Bruh gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh no, that's a disastrous penalty to take.
And speaking of the pit lane, it looks like Jan is going to be pitting fairly soon as well. Those softs aren't going to be staying out much longer as blue flags start to come out as well.
Yeah, blue flags for Firefox as the leaders are going by. So, I'm sorry, not Firefox. It looks like maybe Wilhelm as the leaders are going by. He's running a quiet race in 14th place. A lot of cars in this train up the hill. It looks like there's a ghost car as well of one of the Mercedes. That might be, who is that? Is that Kalo that might have disconnected? I don't know. Yeah. So, a ghost car on track. It's all good. But nonetheless, it is going to be the 2 Aston Martins. I mean, it's so close between these two. You can see Lars is right on the tail of Flavio. He really wants to get by Flavio as he's trying to get him down towards the Novell chicane, but there's so much pace on that Aston Martin.
Yes, it's just a case of when, not if, Jan ducks into the pit. Lars should really be looking ahead to see when that happens, because they need to take advantage of that moment. Because, of course, Jan has to slow down to enter that pit lane, which is going to back Flavio up, meaning they're going to have a better chance going through the home straight into Saint Devot.
Steps had to come into the pits, lost a bit of the front wing, so now a front wing replacement. As you can see the stops on your screen, it is okay to hit the wall. Like Kimmler has had to replace the front wing, and he's running in P7, so it's not all doom and gloom if you do lose a piece of it or have to replace a piece of it. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world. So, I mean, I've personally raced here 9 years ago, or 10 years ago actually, and I hit my front wing twice, or lost my front wing twice, I should say, and I finished P5. So, you know, it's not the end of the world if you do lose a front wing here, but I'll tell you what, a lot of pressure from Tazik on Fizzymon, and if you got the penalty, if you're Fizzymon, I think you just let him by. You already know you're not going to keep the position, so, well, but then again, it's early on in the race. You might not want to. You might want to defend because you got to take the penalty in the pit lane. Kalo with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but I'll tell you who else got it. Lundqvist got it, and Lars has a penalty now. Lars has a penalty for 3 seconds for corner cutting, maybe trying to get around these leaders. And I'll tell you what, it is. Oh, Lucas in the pits. Lucas is pitting.
Okay, here we go. So this is going to be telling for Lars. But also they're approaching a lot of back markers now, so the field is going to be full of traffic. As we get a 3-second time penalty for Ramon, who is up to 9 seconds total by the look of it. Lars hot on the heels of that Aston Martin. Less than 3 tenths between them as they go into the hairpin. And sometimes it's just difficult to tell where one car starts and the other ends.
The ghost cars don't make it any easier. I'll put it that way. There is 2 ghost cars there. One is the Red Bull, I believe, of maybe Bruh, and the other one
is
is
a lap down, and Carlo, I believe, as well. So Lars staying right on the rear wing of Flavio as we head into Sector 3 here.
Yeah, it's Lars trying to reel in Flavio for the race lead. Lucas, meanwhile, is trying to find a pace on those medium tires. You said they were very strong tires in Monaco. I 100% agree with you, as these two are going to be on softs, mind you, to end this race. I mean, Flavio and Lars, they started on the medium, so there's a yellow flag in sector 1. Someone's off at the first turn.
It looks like it's Blomqvist. Lundqvist, sorry, Lundqvist. Lundqvist has gone off at Saint Devot by the look of it, and they have retired from the race. Looks like a irretrievable mechanical failure.
Oh, it's not. He must have done. There is no mechanical failures on online, so it has to be terminal damage. Lundqvist is out of the race. And I'll tell you what, if you're somebody like Wilhelm, you're not finding great pace, right? But you're quietly in P13. You're having a clean race. 2 drivers in front of you have penalties, right? One has 9 seconds of penalties, and the other has 3 seconds of penalties. So, you know you're playing the long game. You're playing the attrition game. You think another retirement or two, you can finish in the points as Bruh picks up yet another penalty for warning. So, Lars, though, trying to keep it close, but I'll tell you who's putting a lot of pressure still, and it's Tazik. He's trying left, right, center to get around this Alpine and Fizzyman. They go around Casino. They go down to the hairpin. Fizzyman has just kept it. Oh, you can't go around there. It is definitely not wide enough on that portion of the track. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I didn't see what for. Maybe just debris on the track. Lucas with a fast lap, 109.8. That's a fantastic race lap.
Yeah, that is. They are catching very quickly down to just 12 seconds from what was 16 out of the pit lane. They are putting some serious pace behind that car.
I'll tell you who else is really fighting it out. Kimmler is right on the tail of Sabbath here in the Alfa Romeo. Oh no, Sabbath has hit the wall. He's out. Sabbath is out. He has obliterated the right front tire in the entrance to the swimming pool chicane, and he is out of the race. And is this going to prompt a safety car? I don't know. Bruh's one completely wide. Oh, and then Mercedes of Kalo is trying to go around him. There's a lot of weaving. Oh no, and Bruh's hit the wall. He is without his wing. Bruh has lost his wing. Sabbath is out, and all of a sudden it looks a lot better from Kalo.
Yeah, not only that, but it looks like the car of Sabbath has been cleared up uneventfully here at Monaco. But both of them diving into the pits now, both Kalo and Bruh, although Bruh's going to take another 7 seconds for that wing to come on. So Kalo is probably going to come out ahead here, as they do on the mediums. Fresh mediums should see them to the end of the race here, if they can keep that front wing intact. Coming out of the pit lane now, and I believe they are coming out P9 with Bruh P10. Firefox overtook them in the meantime in the pit lane, but they are currently under a 3-second penalty. So if Kalo can bring that in to 3 seconds. Oh wait, they've got a 3-second penalty as well.
Yeah, Ramon just got a 5. Yeah, Ramon just got a 5-second one for speeding in the pit lane as well. But I'll tell you what, it's a 3-way battle for 4th place. Fizzy is trying to hold on to it. So much pressure for the Mercedes, and McLaren and Kimmler has caught up to him. They are flying up the hill right now, going up towards Casino. Oh, the McLaren ran a little bit wide there, but he's got it back in line, and now looking on the outside of Casino, but there's just not enough space. Fizzy is not letting them by. He's got the racing line. He's determined to keep it no matter what, and he has done a good job so far. He is on a medium compound tire, but there's just so much pace from Tazik. We've seen this in races past here. We've seen that the pace from Tazik has been very good. It's about keeping it clean and keeping it out of the wall or out of trouble. That has been Tazik's kind of Achilles heel. But nonetheless, really, he has got a lot of pace.
I mean, we could have a race here because Fizzymon is just coming around the corner as Lars has pulled into the lane for a new wing and a new set of tyres. They were on the softs for just one lap. They're now back onto the mediums. So Lars is going to be pulling back a bit, and Fizzy is now only 6 seconds behind. Admittedly, they are going to be on older tyres, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens for P3 here as well.
Absolutely. Lars has had the pace over Fizzy throughout this race. He has increased the gap as Lucas wants a 109.7, absolutely blinding race pace right now. He's in second place. He is 5.5 back. This Mercedes, we followed along this three-way battle for a while. It is the closest battle on the circuit, so bear with us. I am aware Kalo is gaining. Let's actually swap over to that real quick. Kalo, because they're approaching the front straight. So Kalo, if you can keep it close, is going to get DRS on this Haas of Firefox, who has had trouble keeping it out of the wall. We'll see if the Mercedes can get the pass done. Just doesn't look like it. There's not enough track. So up the hill they go. But Kalo might be looking for a pass soon. He's really keeping it close to this Haas.
Yes, and looking back at the battle for fourth between Fizzy, Tazik, and Kimmler, it is close running right now. In fact, looking at it, it's still anyone's race, and with penalties being dished out left, right, and centre, who knows what the classification is going to look like at the end as we head into the 21st lap here at Monaco.
Yeah, I wanted to see what the yellow flag was. So Ramon's retired from the session. He is out. Ramon is out. Another DNF. Well, Wilhelm is having a flyer here. He's up to 11th, and he's got cars in front of him with heavy penalties. But Ramon is out. Another DNF, as there was a yellow flag in Sector 1. It is still Ramon's car that is there. So we ride on board with Tazik. Kalo, or let's go back to Kalo for a second, because he picked up a time penalty. He does have one in front with the Haas, but he almost gets by here. He almost pressures the Haas. He is within a tenth. He's flying up towards Casino. Can he go towards the outside? No, he has to pull out of it. He went for the challenge, but the Haas is not giving him any space, and so back down towards Casino, or towards Mirabeau they go. And in towards the hairpin, very close. Kalo's got to keep it close, got to keep it pinned towards the gearbox of this Haas. Was finding a bit of speed and tried to get the run out towards the Saint Deveau corner, but it just hasn't had it. And you can see in this kind of middle sector, Kalo really loses a bit of time here. 6/10 put between him and Firefox. He's had to cut the chicane. He couldn't make it. And so that's actually gained an advantage on that one. He's down to 3/10 now. He has to be careful with how he cuts the chicane. And he's still riding on board with him. He's going through the swimming pool section now. We'll see if he can get him on this front straight. Oh, he's getting awfully close. I think there's a piece of wing. Oh, he spun it. He spun it, and he's lost it.
He's going to into the pits. It's going to put them significantly behind as Bruh passes them and is now on the tail of Firefox. Oh my goodness.
We're having a little bit of lag issues with you, unfortunately, but yeah. Kalo spun it out. He's coming to the pit, so I checked real quick to see if it was me or you, but I think it's you. Everything looks good on my end, nonetheless. Just a light spike. Still, Fizzymon into the pits. He's come in. Is this going to have to be a wing replacement? I think it's going to have to be a wing replacement. Yes, Fizzymon lost this wing, so he's going to come in. He's going to get a brand new wing, and he's going to go on a soft compound tire. So he's going to try to get the softs to last another 17 laps, 16 laps. That is not ideal. I mean, that is quite the stretch, really. So we'll see if Fizzy can do just that. But he's going to rejoin in 6th position. As he rejoins just ahead of a lapped Ferrari. But we've had, I'll tell you what, we've had 6 retirements. We've had, it is Ramon, Sabbath, Lundqvist, Rafa, Igor, and Starcraft, who have all retired. So that's put Wilhelm, who started P19, up to 11th. Tazik gets another time penalty. But I'll tell you what, the field is starting to spread out a little bit. The closest one is Lucas. He is trying to go outside going into the Noville chicane of his teammate for the race lead, but it's not going to happen. There's not enough room there. And so around they go down to the swimming pool section. The two Aston Martins, remember this is for the championship lead as well. These two fight neck and neck, 44 and 41 points between them. Flavio just in the lead, as Flavio's not going to have the DRS, and this Aston Martin's right on the tail. There's the DRS wing open. There they go side by side down to Saint-Deveau. Can Lucas get the move done? It doesn't look like it. The switchback, though, is very strong, and he will take it up the hill. Lucas in first place.
Yes, as we see more yellow flags, I believe that is the Red Bull of Bruh responsible there. Looking okay, but seems to have stopped momentarily and forcing the Haas.
You know what it was?
What?
I beg your pardon, it was the Ferrari of Finale. He's out of the race. It's another DNF.
Oh! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he's just left the session because he just crashed out, so.
Well, that's surprising. We're now down to just 12 runners here, and I mean, Ra has been overtaken by Firefox after forcing them onto the speed over at Nouvelle. There's going to be an interesting for 8 there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Sabbath came on the chat. He said, my game's decided to freeze mid-corner. Thanks, Codemaster. That's unfortunate. That's super unfortunate. It froze mid-corner and he crashed out into the wall. Flavio goes into the pits, though. Let's check the tire situation. Flavio into pits. He's on softs. He's moved up to the soft compound tire. So Lucas in the lead on the mediums, trying to nurse them to the end. He's only got 10 laps on him. Kimmler's got 16 on the mediums. Tazik in fifth has got 20 laps on his medium compound tire. That's a lot of laps. We'll see if he's got to come in and swap them onto softs, you'd imagine. They aren't going to last to the end of the race.
Doesn't look like it. Flavio could theoretically nurse these till the end. He's going to have to play it really cautiously because after about lap, I think it's lap 15 or 16, you really start getting into puncture territory with those softs. So you need to be very careful. Make sure you're managing those tyres throughout the lap.
I'll tell you what,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Kimmler down to 5th position. He spun in Sector 2, coming out of the Noville chicane, but somehow, some way, he didn't make contact with the wall. He did there, it looked like. He really slid. This back end is sliding around. It just slid around Saint-Deveau, and Kalo's retired. We've had another retirement. Kalo is out of the race. I just cannot believe it, the amount of accidents that we've caused. He is out at Mirabeau. So Kalo out, and I'll tell you what, that's pushed. Well, we talked about Wilhelm. You don't know, right? He's not really had huge pace because he's 36 seconds off of 9th place. But you know what? There's been so many retirements ahead of him, and he's kept it out of the wall so much. He's into the points now. Side by side now, by the way, Bruh and Firefox, and Bruh gets the move done. Oh no, Firefox goes back in front, it looks like. So, I don't know if Bruh brushed the wall there.
I'm trying to make use of the extra grip of the mediums there, but there have been a couple of, I'd say, interesting battles between these two where perhaps one of them has forced the other wide. It'll be interesting to see how it resolves as Bruh now falls outside of DRS, now 2 seconds back. It feels like they've got a problem here, or maybe they're trying to build up their ERS.
They have lost the front end plate, so that turn down to Saint-Deveau on the outside, they lost the front end plate. So he's actually, Bruh gets just a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. So on top of losing the front end plate and having to come in for a new wing, he will get a 5-second penalty. So he's trying to really stick it around these corners, but when you've got no end plate, you just got to take it slow. You can't be adding on 5 seconds worth of time that you're into the pits. You can see it's rear end's really stepping out. Oh, and he gets it for speeding in the pin lane because he lost the rear end. So he's got a 10-second penalty coming up here.
In fact, he's DNF'd, I believe. That's it.
Yes, he has.
Which means Bulldog moves into the points now, who is 2 laps down, I might add. Like,
yeah. This is why you never should give up until it's over, right?
Exactly. Monaco is one of the races where you're just happy you've finished most of the time. So Wilhelm, just like he's sticking out and just making sure they get around and complete enough of the race to qualify.
Absolutely. So Kimmler is 5th position. He is kind of the closest. That's the closest gap. You can see that 19 cars have started the field. Only 10 cars remain. So it reminds me of a certain Monaco race back in the 1990s, I want to say, where I think it was only 3 cars came across the line in the year. It might have been the 80s. I'm trying to remember the year, but I can't quite remember. Nonetheless, it was one of those ones where I think like Schumacher, Hakkinen, they all retired. Like Damon Hill retired, and I think Jordan wound up winning the race. I think it was in the end. So
looking forward towards the end of the race now with 10 laps to go here. Tazik is going to need to pit at some point. Kimmler is going to need to pit at some point. Farrell can probably extend till the end here. And in fact, Kimmler has just pit, which means Fizimon takes 5th. Kimmler comes out in 6th, which means Farrell is going to be chasing for P6 now by about maybe 10 seconds by the look of it, as they're on the mediums. Bulldog can stay on here till the end by the look of it. Bulldog can just stay out on the hards.
Absolutely.
No problem. Wilhelm the same. I believe the only person left to stop will be Tazik here.
Yeah, everybody has at least stopped once. A lot of drivers stopped twice. It's the nature of Monaco. But it's been an absolute crazy race. And I gotta say, through all of it, much like in EU, astonishingly, we haven't had a full safety car. It's only been a virtual safety car. So 9 retirements and only 1 virtual safety car. I'm riding along with Wilhelm. Let's switch it up. Let's go to our boy Fizimon, commentator by day, racer by night. Kimmler's out.
Oh,
He's had an accident.
He's crashed into the barrier over at the Nouvelle Chicane. And that's it. That's the race. And that's not even going to score points. That's not going to get classified. So just finishing here, it's going to get you P9. It's going to get you 2 points.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you what, you'd be chuffed if you're Wilhelm. If you started bottom of the grid after crashing out in qualifying, and you're going to come away with points if you can just keep it clean for the last 10 laps here. It is the final 10 laps of the race around Monte Carlo, as we are riding on board again with Fizimon. And I'll tell you what, now all that battling that we saw earlier, some great battling that we saw earlier, a lot of close quarters, a lot of drivers losing front wings and end plates because they just, it's so hard to go side by side here anywhere. And now the smallest gap is 10.3 seconds. That's Tazik on Fizimon. So Fizimon was pressured by Tazik, reminder, earlier in this race. And Tazik is gaining, but nonetheless, it is going to be Fizimon with a 10-second advantage. And Tazik is probably going to have to pit again. So Tazik is really cutting down the gap, but it's a lot to ask for with 9 laps remaining. Flavio gets a 3-second time penalty. There's really no... I think worry about the penalties, right? There's no, the smallest gap is that really it affects is Steph to Tazik, because Steph has run a clean race and Tazik has got 1 3-second time penalty, but even then the buffer is still 8 seconds between the two. So there's real no worry about the penalties anymore. It is all about the racing.
And I think the thing is here, we're going to see if the softs do pay off for Flavio towards the end here. Yarn is going to be really pushing those mediums as we close into the final stages of the race. Tazik on fresher softs, so he's going to be gaining quite quickly onto Fizzymon. In fact, they've closed that 10-second gap down to just 8 in a matter of a lap and a half. We're going to have a battle on our hands for P4 right here.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to look at the penalties. It's only 3 seconds for each, so it would be a battle for track position, for final position as well. As Tazik has got it down to 7.8. Did he pit? Is he on fresh tire? Yes, he's on fresh softs.
He's on fresh softs. As soon as I said, oh, he's not going to make it on the engine on those mediums, he pitted. Must be psychic. As that gap is now closing even further to just 7 seconds. Tazik actually on that lap there was a full second and a half faster than Fizzymon.
Yeah, he's...
Second and a half per lap could mean that we are seeing a battle for P4 in 4 lap time. This is going to be tight for P4.
And this is going to be extremely tight for P4. Remember, earlier in the race, when this battle was going on, Tazik could not find a way around Fizzymon. Fizzymon's defense was absolutely superb. He'll need more of it right at the end on a slightly older, soft compound tires. We'll see if he can hold on to that position as Tazik is just closing in. I'll tell you who else is closing in. Fizzymon on step, but it's not nearly at the rate. He's got the, I'm sorry, Firefox on step. He's got it down to 7.2 seconds, but Steph's doing well to stay kind of at least enough ahead. So Lucas leads, Flavio is second, Lars third, Fizzy fourth, Tazik is fifth, Steph is up to sixth, Firefox is up 6 positions into 7, Wilhelm is up 11 positions into 8th, and Bulldog is 9th. We've had 10 retirements, Kimmler, Bruh, Kalo, Finale, Ramon, Sabbath, Lundqvist, Rafa, Igor, and StarCraft. It's been a wild race. We've had 1 virtual safety car, and it has been kind of Lucas all the way, though, so far, I gotta say. And it's been really impressive drive from him, Tipster.
It has. It's been an impressive drive, and I mean, here's the thing though, Flavio is going to take that fastest lap point by the look of it. I don't think anyone can challenge them at this point unless Steph on their fresh softs puts in an absolute bomber of a lap right now. It's going to be a tight battle at the top throughout the entirety of the league by the look of it.
Absolutely. Flavio and Lucas are going to be just neck and neck the entire way. Remember, it's I believe Flavio is leading the standings. Lucas should overtake him in the standings by, if Flavio is going to get the you said Flavio's going to have the fastest lap, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like right now.
If that's the case, Lucas will lead the championship by 2 points going into Azerbaijan next weekend. So really tight at the top.
Tazik spun it! Tazik spun it! 2.5 seconds gained that last lap, and it's all just going away after spinning it out, going into, I believe, that's just around the hairpin casino.
Yeah, it was around the right-hander casino. The car looks okay. I don't see a ton of damage on the front end plates or the front wing at all. So somehow it did look like he whacked the wall. I'm kind of curious as to where and if he's going to come in to replace the wing, because he still looks like he's finding a little bit of grip around there, but the front end plates look okay. So we'll see if that's the case, but that's certainly going to secure 4th place for Fizzy. He's got to be pretty happy with that. Another good performance from Fizzy. Overall, not a great qualifying session. He talked in the interview last week that Tipster, that qualifying seems to be the area he needs to improve on. It wasn't great for him tonight, but again, he's managed to pull it out in the race to get a few good positions, and 4th place is a solid finishing position for him.
Oh yes, definitely. 4th place is, I mean, if you can do that consistently, that is gonna see you kind of on podiums towards the end of the season. As Firefox kicks the rear out, going out of Poitiers and into tunnel. That Haas is having so much trouble with its rear end.
Absolutely. I mean, I think night race at Monte Carlo. I think it's had a little bit of a night visit to Taco Bell before the race, because it is, as you're right, as you said, it's just having all sorts of trouble with the rear end, and it is going to secure Steph that 12th place. Not that it already wasn't because of the penalty, but it's pretty much done and dusted now. Any ground that Firefox gained up is completely lost, and so it'll be 3 laps to go next time by for Lucas, who's up at the hairpin right now. He's got lap traffic in front of him, Wilhelm and Bulldog, but nonetheless, he is miles ahead. As long as he doesn't pull the Senna, he will be okay to secure his 2nd race win of the season.
Yeah, and this is an interesting position for Bulldog here. I'm not sure if you apply the 90% rule here, but Bulldog will be in a bit of an interesting position if he gets overtaken again, as he'll be 4 laps down from the rest of the field.
I don't think they do invoke the 90% rule. I think.
Okay, that's good.
Fine.
That's good.
I'm not 100% sure though. Don't quote me on that. And nonetheless, I'll tell you what, Tzazik has really cut the deficit down. It's got to be more than 2 seconds a lap though. Like, that's the only problem. He's only got 3 laps left. He's Firefox has gotten another penalty. He's gotten a 5-second one for speeding in the pit lane. Should be okay because Wilhelm is 50 seconds back. So
about 3 seconds that lap there. This is still on. It is still on. The P4 could still be on to keep the pace.
Absolutely, still has the fresher tires, even though we cooked them a little bit on the spin. So we'll see if he can cut down that time. He's gaining, you're right, he's gaining an absolute blitzing amount of time. But I'll tell you what, from the leader, Bulldog is 4 laps down, and it is Fizzy's a lap down. There's only 3 cars on the lead lap. That's Lars, Flavio, and Lucas, and Lars is a good 40 seconds off the leader. So it is a phenomenal race from Lucas, who has not only kept it out of the wall, but kept it in front by a country mile. So Lars, 3rd position, another 3rd for him. Flavio looking at 2nd. Lucas is looking at 1st. Lars gets a 3-second time. Probably not going to be bothered too much. Fizzy is literally a minute back from him. As Tzazik has closed the gap to 5.8 seconds. 2 laps to go now. Tzazik is just coming around to start lap 38. Fizzy has just crossed the line to start it. So you can see it is
5-second gap between the 2 of them, as Tzazik takes another 2 seconds out of that gap to Fizzy. Those softs are really going to be losing grip about now. Not only is the wear going to be coming into play, but the fact that it is night. That track is colder.
We've had a spin. Who spun? It's Wilhelm. Wilhelm has spun, and he's lost his front wing, but he has stayed alive. You don't want to lose the points now, mate. You definitely don't want to lose the points now. So he has got, I think, an Aston Martin. I think he's got, is it the leader behind him? No. The leader in Lucas has just crossed the line to start the final lap of the race. Tzazik is within 3 seconds. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. It is for Wilhelm, going very slow. I think you got to come into the pits and try to just put the wing back on for the last lap, something. You want to stay in the race. Bulldog is pitted. But nonetheless, it is Lucas around Casino for the final time, around the Grand Hotel hairpin for the final time in this race, almost from wire to wire. It's been fantastic from Lucas. As what'd you see there?
Well, Fizzy, the gap is now down to 1.5 seconds between Fizzy and Tzazik. This is the race. There is just a second between them now. Fizzy's having so much trouble keeping traction on those old softs, especially with the track being so cold at night. It's down to just half a second, and this is the battle for P4 right here.
More on that in a moment, though, because really quickly, it's going to be around the final 2 corners. It's going to be Lucas to come up the straight to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Back over to you.
Has made the pass on the hairpin. Fizzy, it looks like, spun out slightly and had to reverse to get back on track, which allowed Tazik pass to take P4 right at the end here.
That's got to be pure heartbreak if you're Fizzy. You were in P4 and Tazik was like 12 seconds back. He was 12 seconds back.
Seconds back, like 4 laps ago.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what a fantastic performance. Flavio has come across the line in second place. It is going to be Lars in third. He's going to come across the line. Tazik secures fourth position. Firefox gets the added time penalty, of course, but nonetheless, it is Tazik in fourth, Fizzy fifth. All that's left is Wilhelm. He's just got to keep it on the track. He's coming around Raskas in the final corner, and he's going to secure his first points of the season. 4 points for Wilhelm, and that is going to do it.
Oh my goodness, what a race.
What a fantastic race. Sorry to cut you off there at the end. Wanted to get the Flavio over the line. Wilhelm gets driver of the day according to the game. We'll talk about ours in a moment. But a fantastic performance. Yes, absolutely. Capture every moment of it. As it's going to be a wonderful Monaco Grand Prix win for Lucas. Second place for Flavio. Lars does come in third. So the Canadian once again putting in a podium performance in that Haas. The two Aston Martins, 1 and 2 yet again there. As it's going to be really just an extension of the lead. In the constructors. So there's your final results. Lucas is the winner. Flavio second place. Lars is third. Tazik gets fourth. Fizzy fifth. Steph sixth. Firefox seventh. Wilhelm eighth. And then Bulldog ninth. And then your retirements, I should say. Kimmler in 10th. Bra 11th. Kalo 12th. Finale 13th. Ramon 14th. Sabbath 15th. Lundqvist 16th. Rafa 17th. Igor 18th and 19th. Real quick, let's go over to the incidents. Grab them for the stewards because that's what you want, and somebody's already hit the timer. I'm trying to catch them all. And, oh my God, I just got them all. But, oh man, there was so many warnings. You just want to make sure you get race control, but nonetheless, sorry about that. They want to make sure you capture everything on race control. Somebody instantly auto-forwarded, but that's going to do it. Let me actually leave the game for a minute, and then we will start post-game interviews. But I want to get your thoughts there, Tipster, on what we just saw with that Monaco Grand Prix.
I mean, it was chaos out there, to be honest. We had DNFs for the majority of the field. No actual safety cars, weirdly. But there was a race down to the wire right till the end there. I honestly wasn't expecting that tonight. I honestly was expecting this to be done and dusted by halfway through, and for it to be a foregone conclusion by that point. But the race between Tazik and Fizzy seemed to have put a stop to that, especially after that little incident we had with Tazik there, meaning that they had to make a little bit more time up than they probably should have. Gotta say, a good job to Wilhelm for getting through that pretty much unscathed throughout the entire thing. It's no mean feat to actually make it through 39 laps of Monaco in the dark.
You're absolutely right. So we got post-game interviews lined up, of course. We've got 4 lined up for you. It's going to be the first one. We are going to talk to start the 5th place finisher in the race, Fizzymon. Fizzymon, good evening. Welcome. Night race at Monaco. 10 retirements, 11 retirements in the end. Did you expect that sort of absolute carnage?
I expected carnage. I didn't know how many people would finish. Yeah, I expected it to be rough because Monaco in this game it's just brutal. The cars are so oversteery around this track. No matter what you do to it, and over 39 laps, you're bound to like tap the wall, almost guaranteed at least once. And yeah, I knew. As good as I felt going into this race, I still hit the wall several times and broke my wing a couple times. And I'm sure, that was the same situation with everyone else. So I was just, oof.
Well, it was P4 for the longest time, and I hate to bring this up, but right at the very end, Zeke managed to pass you. Can you go over what happened?
So I put on the sauce for the lap 22, 21, and I thought, oh, I should, stretch it out, make it to the end just fine. Well, with about 7 laps to go, I was at 50 some percent on the left rear, and I was like, all right, this is not good. So I had to start really, really trying to tire save. It was working, but you get 50 some percent in 10 laps. Not even trying to do 25 and 7 is just almost impossible. And that last lap, it was already over 75, and I knew I had to push because I had Tzazik right there, and car was just oversteering on the exit of every corner. It was just the tire was not working at all, and that's what happened. I went on throttle, I guess, a little too much, and then the back end just said, "Nah, we're not gonna stick," and just almost just destroyed my race and DNF'd me. Thankfully, I was able to keep going, and it didn't really. I don't think I damaged Zeke's car. I mean, he got around me anyways, but that could have been a lot worse with how I was just sideways into the wall there.
Tips or any questions for Fizzymon?
Yeah, so obviously starting on the grid P6, ending up P5 there, and most of the field a lap down. Um, how do you, as a driver, kind of cope with that, knowing that there is now one less lap of the race to finish?
Well, in my case with the tire situation, it was helping me, so I was very happy with it. I just adjusted. I didn't really adjust my driving style. I knew that after I broke my wing on my second stint, I knew that it was gonna be rough, and I knew at that point, seeing how fast that Jan was up front, I'd be a lap down, and so I wasn't really concerned about fuel usage anymore because I was kind of cutting it close to begin with. Then we had the VSC early on, and I was able to save a little bit. I was no longer concerned about that. Again, with towards the end when I was trying to like save the tires, it was a little tricky doing the math on the fly, so it definitely made it a tad harder. But I'm happy I didn't have to do one more lap around that track because I think I would have had a puncture on that lap if I would have had to do a 39th lap.
Yeah, those tires were really close to the edge by the look of it. We were sitting here in the commentary box going, "Oh, probably shouldn't do more than 10, 11 laps on those softs before they start giving way." And you just kept going and kept going. What's your secret to kind of keep the tires from giving way so quickly?
I mean, I had a race at Zandvoort where I did something similar, where I just took the softs to a godly amount of laps. Usually, I run a more lower front wing just to kind of ease off the tire issue. But in that stint's case, I was running 11 on the front, so I was going full aggressive. I meant to lower it, but I forgot. And once I realized I had so much wear, because I did have that normal, like a lot of wear, I was just not trying to push through any of the corners. I was just trying to like ease it off, making sure I wasn't locking up the tires. Was playing with the brake bias a little bit, just doing everything I could to just avoid putting excessive wear on them. But at the end, it's there's only so much you can do. So, but yeah, I try not to. I've gotten better with not pushing them too much. I mean, I still push them to the limit. I've just gotten better with not locking up as much and not like destroying them. So yeah, that's kind of how I coped with it, and it worked for the most part. Just last lap decided that it wasn't anymore.
Well, you've got Azerbaijan coming up next week, another street track, and okay, not as kind of tight as Monaco, but you still have the castle section. Uh, Anything from this race that you are going to carry over to Azerbaijan?
Hmm. Well, I'm 0 for 2 with finishing it Azerbaijan, and last time I raced there was coming off of an injury. So I'll be happy if I finish. I think there's not much I can carry. I mean, today wasn't there. I was smacking the wall too much. I don't want to carry that over. So yeah, maybe just raw pace, but it's Baku's a whole other monster. So we'll see. Got some time, but we'll see.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm a Prodigy fan too. Good luck next week at Azerbaijan. You'll still should be fourth place in the championship. That's certainly still something to build on, of course. And good luck to you.
Thank you guys. Thank you for everything, and have a good night.
Me too. That is Fizzymon for the first of 5 interviews. Let's bring in our next one. Let's bring the other gentleman who was involved in that great battle that he eventually took away 4th place from. It's Tazik. And Tazik, 4th place in the end. You heard Fizzymon talk about the tires falling away from him. You managed to just pip him to 4th in the end. You showed really good pace around the track. Overall, you happy with the final performance?
Yeah, pretty good. Finished 4th. After the incident with my teammate on I forgot what lap it was, but had to pit because the front wing was gone. And pretty much I was like, yeah, guess I'll just carry on, see what happens. And I'm actually surprised I got 4th because I spun again around lap 27, 26.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I kept I kept checking the driver ahead, and then they were saying 2 seconds faster. So I just kept pushing and got 4th place.
Yeah, I was about to say, what was going through your head when you spun through that casino section? Because you were on pace to pass Fizzymon within a couple of laps, and then all of a sudden the rear end goes away from you, and so does that pace. What was going through your head when you saw that gap go up to 12, 15 seconds?
Yeah, at that point I kind of almost gave up, but I figured his lap because I saw he pitted for like lap 20 something for softs, and then it was like a solid 3 second advantage. So kept going, just put my head down, and it worked out.
And then when you came into that hairpin and saw not Tazik, Fizzymon just kind of taking up the width of the track, what happened there? What was going on there? Because we were sitting with a bird's eye view, going, "How has this happened?"
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he kind of went. I don't want to say deep, but probably the tires just didn't break. And then, of course, if it wasn't for ghosting, probably would have sat there for a while. But yeah, I couldn't even get the car slow down to turn in behind him.
Well, I want to ask you. You showed really, really good place or pace, I should say. P4, very impressive. You pick up 12 points. That'll take your total up to 16. You should leapfrog quite a few people, including like Jackie Jack, Giovanni Santos, Shentar. So you are going to jump up to, I want to say, 6th in the championship. What are your goals for the overall championship? Where do you think you can finish?
Uh, I'd say after getting lapped, probably like the worst race I can do. I'd say maybe like 6 or higher. Because there's some tracks I'm kind of good at. I could probably be on pace with the guys up front, but they're just fast at every track in all the conditions.
What are your hopes for Baku coming up next weekend? It's another street track, not as tight as Monaco. What are your expectations there?
Uh, Hopefully another P4 finish, but it's not as bad as Monaco. Actually, the problem section is the castle section. That's literally the only problem I can see me having. Actually, probably just take it slow through there just to get through.
Is that a turn that turn 8 to start that side? Is that a turn you're taking like 3rd gear? I mean I personally usually take it in 3rd gear, but is that something you'll take
Yeah,
in 3rd gear?
yeah. I usually take in third and then upshift to 4th, like towards the exit.
Interesting. Okay. Well, while we look forward to that race next weekend, congratulations on 4th place. It was a good recovery drive, even with the spin. I mean, fantastic to chase down Fizzy. And you got to be pretty happy with the points. You move up in the championship. That's always a good sign. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, thank you.
Take care, Tazik. So that is Tazik, everybody. So our next interview, we're going to go in with the next one who was in the lobby, and I believe that was Steph. So we're going to go in with Steph Farrell here. Let me just finish typing out the name, actually, in the in the stream. Steph Farrell will be our next interview. Steph, how you feeling after that absolute craziness?
Well, I somewhat completed the mission I set out for myself, which was survive. You could say the task failed successfully because I had my spins and I tapped the wall a few times, but I managed to keep myself from getting major damage. I just had to pit a few times for a front wing change, two to be precise. And just that and keeping a decent enough pace brought me from like P10 to P6. So, you know, it's like I said, this race is one more of attrition than anything else. So the more you can keep yourself clean, the better. So I lost a few positions on the start because people were quite aggressive, and I just had to go. You know what? You want the position, take it. If you're gonna be that aggressive, you're gonna end up breaking your wing eventually. So I just focused on trying to survive. I had my mistakes, but overall a decent result since I gained position. So just gonna focus on continuing to do that from now on. And tracks should be easier from now on because they're not Monaco. Yeah.
That's for sure. So, Tipster, any questions for Steph?
So obviously you were part of that rather large train there. What was going through your head when you saw, two, maybe three cars behind you for a couple of laps? What was it to try and, gain a position? Was it to try and defend? What was your strategy there?
Okay, I did. I think I don't know what you're referring to. There was a point at the start where I had a bit of a train going. Basically, my mentality at that point is just drive my own race, and if they send it, I'll defend as best I can, but make sure that I'm not putting myself in a position where I'm ending someone's race or ending my own or getting critical damage or anything of that. Just my strategy in Monaco is always just try to survive the best that I can, essentially, because it's a race of attrition. The more the less damage that you get, the less time you waste on the pits, the better you're gonna do. Because in the nature of these kind of leagues and stuff, there's gonna be a lot of incidents.
Well,
So yeah,
I was gonna say on that note, are you surprised there was only one virtual safety car for the 11 retirements?
there was so many times that Jeff came up and just told me, so there's been an incident on track, but the stewards are not gonna try to put the safety car on. I'm like, dude, maybe they should, particularly the one where I was chasing, I think it was Kimmler who pitted,
Yeah.
and immediately afterwards, he goes through the Novel chicane and dies in front of me. He was sideways with being thrown everywhere in the track. I had to like slow down and squirm myself through. And Jeff was like, "No, no, no safety car. Don't worry, you're good." And I'm just like, maybe I would think I would pull out the safety car for that one, dude.
Oh, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, indeed.
I think Jeff I think Jeff might have slipped something to the stewards before the race, but nonetheless, yeah, I
Yeah.
was gotta say it was pure chaos, and you did well to bring it home. Really, you got decent points here, but so I think in the end, you're gonna stay ahead of Tazik, who had a good performance, but I believe you might slot in behind Igor still. You might just jump him. I'd have to check. He's on 18, you're on
Yeah.
11, so um,
I
but
believe I believe you're going to overtake Igor then.
yeah,
If
by
that's the case.
a single point, I believe, right? So
That's pretty good.
yeah,
But in essence, it's this season. What I'm looking at is to gain more experience because will be my I believe first full season without racing line. As I turned it off last game, but I think I did like the first race without it. I don't remember exactly. And just overall, just keep improving. Try to get a little faster. And, lessen the gap to those guys in front. Fizzy, the Brazilians in general. Just try to improve those last few tenths that I need to really start fighting more towards the front and keep my racecraft clean. Really, that's just kind of my goal right now.
Well, I got two more questions for you, Steph, really quickly. The first is you are up to fifth in the championship. Then, where do you see? I know you said you're kind of focusing on the experience, but where do you see you're finishing? Are you kind of aiming for like a top 10, or you kind of now that you're in fifth place, can say let's go for top 5?
Well, looking at that, I hope to just keep the consistency going well enough that I can possibly finish top 5, maybe even top 4, top 3. I have multiple times before finished pretty decently high in the championships, mostly on consistency alone, like just being there and getting decent results every single race, and when I have the pace, just doing my best and maximizing those results. My last season on the pad, for example, I was very consistent. Did very few mistakes, and I had enough pace that I won a few races, and that won me that short championship. So, you know, I just mostly focus on that consistency because the consistency can literally at basically outdo raw pace if you're consistent enough. Because if you're fast but crash a few times, that's a big points loss that you take. You know.
So last question from me, and then tips if you have any more, feel free. But Baku is next weekend. What are your plans for dealing with that track?
Probably practice a little sooner, and because again, I kind of left it for the end again, and practice a bit sooner, and just try to mostly the same. Just try to be consistent and fight closer towards the top. I do know Baku is a decent track for me, historically speaking. So as long as I keep it off the wall, it should be fine.
Tipster, you got anything further?
I think that's pretty much everything from us. See you at Baku, Steph, and have a good week.
You guys have a good week as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is Steph. Next, we've got two more interviews for you. The first of which next is going to be Lars Algira, and Lars, another solid race from Lars. Another podium for the Haas. You'll love to see it. American team and a podium position. I never thought I'd see the likes of it, but here we are in F1 with it. Lars, a third place. Are you happy with the result?
I feel like I'm pretty happy with the result. I feel like I could have done probably better because I had a incident in the race with the front wing. I had to pit and then literally did one lap on the softs and then hit the wall again, so I had to pit again. But yeah, honestly, it's I've never been that good on Monaco, so this race went actually pretty good. So I'm really happy with it.
And that cements you as P3 for the league overall. You've been pretty consistent this season so far, fourth, a third, and a third. Do you see that going into the future?
I definitely hope so. I know Igor. I think he's also pretty fast, but he DNF last race and this race as well. So yeah, I'm definitely aiming for a podium every race. But yeah, I just gotta be fast every track and stuff. So I'll see what I can do.
Well, it gives you a 12-point cushion, mind you, in the championship. So a pretty good race overall. You showed that you kind of have the pace of the two Aston Martins. There was a point very kind of for the first half of the race where it was kind of just you, Flavio, and Lucas, kind of 1, 2, and 3, all within a second of each other. What is it that do you think you can find that will give you the extra edge to kind of outpace the two Aston Martins?
Um, I feel like rain definitely because as you saw in quali, I was actually pretty close. And last race in Spain with rain, I was also really good in the race. So yeah, I think rain is definitely one of my strongest point on this game. But in the dry, I'm not really sure. Just probably a good setup and hopefully get like a good grip position in the qualification and then see what I can do in the race.
Tipster, any other questions?
I mean, my question to you is obviously we saw a bit of a diversion in strategy from you due to the issue with the softs. What was your plan going in there? Medium then soft for the rest of the
Yes,
race?
yes, medium soft was definitely my plan. But on lap I think was 18. I'm not sure exactly what lap, but I got wing damage, so I had to pit. So I was like, yeah, I'll just pit for softs and then softs again if later in the race if I have to. But then literally the same lap when I put the softs on, I got another wing damage, so I had to pit again. And I was like, yeah, I'll just pit for mediums, and then I can finish the race on these tires. I'll just be careful on this set and just finish the race instead of like trying to catch up and trying to beat them because I was like 40 seconds behind them. So I knew I was not gonna get second anymore or first. So I was just taking it careful and just trying to finish the race.
I mean, it seemed to have saved you time there, as what we saw with Tazik and Fizzymon is that the softs really don't last that long on this track. Um, uh,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. For me, I couldn't do any laps on the soft. So, but honestly, the mediums they were actually pretty good for me because like I did like 16 laps and only had like 20% on the rear tires. So the tire wear was actually pretty good for me. So I feel like if I went on the softs, I could have done easily like 15 laps on the softs. But yeah, that's just it's just all speculation and stuff. So I'm not really sure. And so yeah, it is what it is. Wing damage, that's just Monaco, and yeah, eventually I finished the race with P3, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, you got Baku next week. Any
yeah.
what are your plans for Baku? Because unlike Monaco, where it's just kind of white knuckle driving the entire way, it requires a really kind of well balanced car to handle both the speed and the technicality of the castle section. So what are your plans with how you're going to set up the car for Baku?
Um, I feel like for me, more wing is better for me in the races for some reason. So definitely a little bit more wing, but other than that, just hoping I can like keep up with Flavio and Lucas, and then maybe get second or first. We'll see.
Well, he's flying the banner for the Haas team. Good luck. We certainly look forward to you racing next weekend in Baku. We wish you good luck there. Lars, out to you, everybody. Lars, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So that leaves one final interview. And let me get the name up on the screen. It is going to be the lovely Firefox who has joined us. Firefox,
Hello.
what did you make of that absolute craziness in Monaco?
A little bit too crazy for my taste. I mean, personally, I feel like it could have gone a lot smoother, especially on my end. I feel like a lot of us threw away a really good chance at some points, but mostly it was just people being careless during qualifying and then during the race as well, because I don't think anybody really expected anybody else to do anything, so it just kind of ended up turning into a mess both ends of the race.
Let's talk about qualifying briefly. Wet qualifying for you, and obviously there was that period where you spun out on the straight, and with a McLaren bearing down on you, what was kind of going through your head there?
No, you were muted.
He said with the McLaren bearing down on you, what was going through your head there?
With Kimmler?
With
Or-
Kimmler during qualifying, yes. Sorry,
Okay.
no, with Igor during qualifying. Igor.
Uh, Honestly, personally, I didn't really make much of it when I think are you referring to like the end when I spun or
Yes, yeah.
okay. So I didn't really notice he was following me at all. I don't really pay attention to that kind of thing while I'm driving a lap. I was wanting to go for a second lap. I hit the inside curb at Sandoval with my rear right tire, and because it was wet, it kind of just threw me into a fishtail. I tried to correct it, and I just ended up smacking into the wall and facing backwards. That I honestly didn't know what to do with that. I just kind of ended up backwards with nowhere to go. So I tried to back out of the way of because my teammate was behind me. So I tried to back out of the way. It just ended up in the wall even more, and couldn't really do anything because everybody was coming my way. So
Well, go ahead, Tipster.
I mean, after that, you qualified P13 and finished P7. Quite a respectable finish. Uh, regard regardless of your grid position there. And we saw quite a few battles there between you and I believe Bruh in the Red Bull. Um, how was it going pretty much nose to nose with a Red Bull through that Novell chicane?
oh, that honestly caught me off guard. I didn't. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably gonna think I make opportunistic moves. I didn't expect him to make a move at all. He was like 2/10 back from me, from what I remember. He just kind of dove down the inside, and I almost ran into him, but I got out of the way just in time, and he kind of squeezed past, and then ended up. I think either it was either one or spin. I don't remember. One of the Red Bulls spun behind me like twice, but he ended up just kind of sending it up the inside. Didn't really expect it at all, but I'm glad we didn't end up making contact. Um,
So I actually need your help for a second because your name on the standing sheet is not the same name in Discord or in the server.
yeah,
So
yeah.
point it out to me.
I am actually tried to change my name. I actually don't know how to change my name on Steam. My official personal brand is Firefox. I
Mhm.
used to call myself Fort Gemicide, but I changed that like 3 years ago. I just have no
Gotcha.
idea how to change it on Steam.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is your first points of the season then, and
Yeah,
it's 4
it could have.
points.
Should have been 6, but yeah.
Oh yes, I beg your pardon. It's 6 points. So it'll take
That's
you into a tie with Murphy's Law, who is in 10th position. So, um, where do you see yourself in this championship? Do you kind of want to compete for the top 10 now that you're there on the precipice, or is this kind of like an experience season and you just kind of hope to pick up more points along the way? What are your goals for when 17 rounds are sitting through?
Uh, realistically, I'm just trying to keep it in the top 10. I know I have the pace to be regular in the top 10. Optimistically, I know a lot of the tracks I can compete in for the top 5. I did it in Spain during qualifying, kind of threw it away in the race, and then this had qualifying been dry here, I probably would have qualified at least top 6. I had the pace for top 4 at some point during the race. I was about 6/10 off the fastest lap of the race, but I ended up throwing it away because I decided to play bumper cars with the walls a couple times, so I had to pull a 4 stop during the race. But I'm hopeful I can get top 4 or 5, but top 10 is my realistic goal.
Yeah, I was about to say your pace wasn't far off that of Lucas Yarn, our winner today. What do you think? You know, where do you think you're losing the time at the moment to to people like Jan and Flavio and Lars?
Consistency and probably traction in the corners. I am not the I don't think I'm the most consistent in the world. I have really good 1 lap pace if I really try, and I can also have good race pace. But there's really a trade off because my setups are either geared towards the race or towards qualifying because I can't really get a good setup to go in the middle. So I'm either one or the other. Usually I try to focus on the race, but that makes me slower during qualifying, which makes me qualify low down. But I think traction out of the corners probably is hurting me a lot too. I don't get going as fast as some of them sometimes, or I'm also just not as fast in the slower corners because of the way I turn the wheel. I don't use both my hands. I only use one of them if I have to go full lock. So it's a little bit slower turn in and turn out.
Speaking of slower corners, we've got Baku next week, and that castle section is nothing but slow corners. What's your you got any strategies going into that? What's your kind of expectations there?
Uh, I think as long as I can keep it out of the wall, I should be fine. I don't really think there's a strategy. I don't really have a strategy right now for attacking Sandoval. Not Sandoval. That's in Monaco. The castle section. If I can get my setup right and I can just keep it out of the wall, I think I should be okay through there. Um, like I said, as long as you keep it out of the wall there, you should be relatively good to go. Given a lot of people make mistakes into the turn into the castle section, in that really narrow bit where that like little chicane goes uphill. So a lot of people make mistakes there. So if I can keep it out of the wall there, I should be fine.
Well, I think the strategy is wait till everybody else crashes, sign for Ligier Mugen Honda, and win your only race. No, I'm just saying. Nonetheless, look, you did well. You got your first points of the season. Big congratulations. We look forward to seeing you next week in Baku as well. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Hopefully I have a much more comparable session to what I believe my personal pace can be.
Definitely make things even more interesting in the championship. So looking forward to it, Firefox. Good luck, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
You too.
And that's going to do it for us. So a fantastic race overall in Monaco. It was, 11 retirements, Tipster? Tipster, we didn't finally actually ask the question, so I'm going to ask it to you. Your driver of the day.
Driver of the day? For me, it's between Tazik and Lars. Tazik for pulling off that almost astonishing comeback at the end there. I mean, yes, that was partially down to a bit of an upsie at one of the turns, but to get that kind of pace and be able to make that overtake on the final lap, certainly drive of the day material for me. Last, just for kind of managing to keep their heads amongst those two Brazilians up front who are constantly putting the pressure on, and not really making many faults. It's got to be said.
Well, for me personally, I want to give it to somebody like Firefox, but I'm going to give it to Wilhelm because, in the end of the day, look, he's not the fastest car. He did finish 2 laps down, but I'll tell you what, it took a lot of, he raced his race and he made sure he kept the car clean. He didn't get any penalties. He kept it on the track and he kept it out of the walls and he kept it into 8th position. He picked up 4 points. So he's up to, it's going to be 11th in the check. He's going to be up to 11th in the championship, I believe, or 12th in the championship, actually. Beg your pardon. So, big step up. So, Wilhelm, he sometimes you just got to take it. It's kind of tortoise in the hare sometimes, right? I don't want to be too harsh on him and call him a tortoise. That's not what the intention. But the point is that sometimes with all the craziness around you, you just got to focus and race your race and know if you can stick to your own strategy, you can come away with points. That's exactly what he's done here today. So big congratulations to him as well. And to Bulldog, who picked up his first points of the season, finishing P9. He's got 2 points. He's on the board now. But any closing thoughts from you, Tipster, about this absolutely crazy race?
Drive safe.
Yeah, it can't be understated, can it? It's drive safe. Well, that's going to do it from us. We just want to take a very quick thank you again to our wonderful sponsors, Elgato, the makers of the Stream Deck. You can definitely check them out. Stream Deck's a fantastic tool if you are into streaming or even content producing at all for YouTube and the likes. Check them out at elgato.com. Driver 61 Sim Racing Academy, with which you can get a 25% off for a consultation session and free coaching session when you use code AOR Driver61. Visit driver61.com/sim-racing/D61-sim-racing-academy for more details. And finally, SIMSOK, the first of its kind sock built for sim racing. It's got cushioned heel for comfort during endurance events. If you're also like an ACC racer, breathable panels, arch support, special Cool Max yarn that wicks away moisture from your feet, and strategically placed unique grips that mean there are no more feet slipping off the pedals. You can find out more information about that at SIMSOK. That's SIMSOK.com. Fantastic race here in Monaco. It was an absolute pleasure to bring it to you. So on behalf of Erti, Tipster, Fizzymon, and all of the AOR crew, I am Benikage. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week for Baku. Have a great evening.